So obviously our focus here on the top of the Premier League table. What about the bottom half of the standings? That's where we find both Manchester United and Southampton, who will be playing on Thursday. Let's hear from Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim.
I think this next game will teach me more from my players than the last two. So I'm really focused on to see what kind of game we are going to play tomorrow. So I will learn more tomorrow.
Just on that, can you say why? Why would you learn more then?
Like I said, because there is no expectation for us in the last two games. No one believed that we can do a great performance or winning a game. But now they are expecting us to win and to play well. So I will learn more this game.
You're going to learn more against Southampton than Liverpool and Arsenal. What's he getting at there?
Well, I don't know. I think what he's trying to say is, look, I want to see us on the front foot. I want to see us control the game when we're expected to control the game. And I want to see us be ruthless when we're expected to be ruthless. The Liverpool and Arsenal games, they defended stoutly. Very well, great shape. And that was what was expected from them. And it was up to Liverpool and Arsenal to break them down. And they did a great job. They were solid. Something they weren't the previous 4 games after the win at the Etihad. They were horrible. They were horrendous. Newcastle at home, Bournemouth at home, the list goes on. So I think what he's saying is, we're expected to dominate the worst team in the league by far. And that's what I want to see from my players.
I think he's also saying motivations for Arsenal and Liverpool take care of themselves. As a manager, you don't or you shouldn't have to be tasked with getting your players up for those types of games. But games like Southampton, that's your bread and butter. Manchester United are a long way from winning leagues, right? So let's say their target now is at least to finish in the top 4. To do that, you have to be far more consistent against those other teams. Let the top 4 take care of itself. Let the big boys take care of itself. If you win those games continually, that's when you start moving up the table. That's when you start challenging top 4.
That would be a new low. Even off the back of Liverpool and Arsenal, that would be a new low
because of
if
bad house
United were to lose at home to this Southampton side with 6 points. And I think that's what this manager is slightly worried about.
Right, that'd be a catastrophe.
Okay, Janusz, Man United against Southampton. There's signs, there's shoots of recovery for Manchester United. A couple of good cup results. However, and there always seems to be a caveat when we're talking about the Red Devils, their last 3 home games in the Premier League, defeats against Forest, Bournemouth and Newcastle. It's Southampton at home. It's a case of how many for United, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if you can say that, right? Under Ten Hag or even now under Ruben Amorim, they haven't proven that, right? Away, home or away. Yes, the results, against Arsenal, Liverpool, can give you a little bit of momentum, and you've got to take advantage of that. So you'd expect that, but I just don't think that we've seen the consistency and the quality of play. Let's be honest, from Manchester United, to say that, because now they're going to be favorites to do that. I mean, think about it. In many ways, and I'm going to be speaking in general. When you watch the cup games against the top clubs, that gave Ruben Amorim to kind of play not the way he wants to play, right? I mean. This wasn't a team that would just keep possession and high pressing. That's what Ruben Amorim would like to do. This looked very much like the team of Erik Ten Hag, and most people weren't happy that Manchester United, even at Old Trafford, would sit back, allow the opposition, any opposition. I'm not talking just big clubs, but any clubs, not only to get points out of there, but often be the team on the front foot. So when you watch these games against, say Arsenal or Liverpool, you almost allowed to do that because the previous results have been so bad. That's why the changes all the time as far as managers go, that you sort of say, well, that's a massive game against Liverpool. We'll take that any way we can, or Arsenal. Now you have Southampton, and we've seen situations like this during the season where smaller teams came in and gave Manchester United all kinds of problems, being under Erik Ten Hag or under Ruben Amorim as well. So the future may be brighter, but this is going to be a game, to me, it's a good thing that you started that way, is because you almost expect, okay, after 2 games like that, let's see if we can, dominate Southampton. I'm not talking it has to be 4 or 5-0, but domination in terms of possession, in terms of quality chances created, and an easy win, whatever you think is easy. You say 2-0, 3-1, 3-0, that sort of game where you say, okay, fair enough.
A comfortable win is what they should be getting against a team that's struggling, and against a side that hasn't won away from home in the Premier League for nearly 2 years. James Ward-Prowse at Chelsea in February 2023. But this ain't Arsenal. This ain't Liverpool. This isn't going away from home and giving up a lot of the ball and being comfortable in giving up a lot of the ball. What has been Manchester United's issue, both under Amorim, but more so under Ten Hag, the last couple of years, with an inability to try and force a game and create as much when they have more of the ball, because the other team does to them what they did to Arsenal and Liverpool of late and say, here you go, you have the ball, try and break us down.
Yeah, I think still you have to say, and it's early, right? I mean, we all knew what was going to happen, but the makeup of the team that doesn't really fit the system, and we continue to see that, right? Because, you know, Mazraoui, although I like him quite a bit, he plays well no matter where you put him. You could almost say that about Dalot, but as we know, his temperament, not just that. I think there are games that he looks good, but overall he makes a ton of mistakes. This is not a player, at least for me, that I would have trusted with as much playing time as he's gotten. Now, maybe if he goes back and plays his normal position, which, by the way, even if for Portugal, I've seen him play right back or left back. But I think, you know, I mean, it's only fair to him to make, you know, not to be jack of all trades, because I'll tell you what, I don't think he does that well. And I think I'm going to get a fight on my hands with some of our colleagues, Mark, that I know. I just don't see it. I see that he's very often liability, very often, you know, in or around the goals conceded, right? Much better going forward than he is in defense. So it's perhaps, as I said, unfair to him because he's played just about everywhere. But you know, in those wide areas, you need a true wingers, right? Now you're kind of shoehorning people in the, you know, to play behind Højlund. Obviously questioned there as well, and I feel bad about him because I look at a young player that's playing for a massive club. He's under tremendous amount of pressure, given the sort of player historically that played in that position, who works extremely hard, who does one thing great, and that's, you know, he knows how to hold up the ball with the back, but you know, with his back to goal. But I still don't think that he's the answer, and he's not going to be the long-term answer for him. I've made peace with Manchester United where they are for a long time right now. I think we're going to see some good results, but I think everything starts again to kind of setting up the mentality from the point of view of Ruben Amorim, and speaking to hierarchy to get the players that he wants for next season. You know, he gets a freebie from me here because I don't expect anything special from Manchester United.
Okay, full reaction to all the games, not just in England, but across the continent on ESPN FC tonight on ESPN+. We'll be back on Friday with ESPN FC Live, looking back at today's games and tomorrow's games in the Premier League and looking ahead to all the action this weekend. My thanks to James and to Janusz.
Well, meanwhile, after Gabriel Jesus' ACL injury that we revealed yesterday, Arsenal's priority this month is a new striker.
Yeah, we understand they're close to a deal to sign Real Sociedad's Martín Zubimendi in the summer. Zubimendi has a release clause that Sociedad believed to be £51 million, and although Arsenal wanted him in this window, a compromise has been struck for the move to go through in the summer. Liverpool had agreed a deal for Zubimendi in the summer, only for the player to change his mind.
He's been the one Arteta has wanted, and they worked on it while they were in the process of signing Mikel Merino from Real Sociedad last summer, and they've made some real progress. They'll hope to get it over the line, and that will bring some real questions for, you know, what's going to happen in terms of the future of Thomas Partey and Jorginho. I don't think final decisions have been made yet, where Merino and Declan Rice going to play in the 6 or the 8 role, but he's a top player. We've seen that with Spain and Sociedad. There's a 60 million euros release clause. As I understand it, Arsenal might look to pay a little bit more than that, actually, to then gain a better payment plan, stagger those instalments, and be able to then do other activity next summer.
Yeah, Zubimendi, a central midfielder. Maybe not the striker that Arsenal fans are hoping for, but there is a theme to Arsenal's transfer targets. Basque-born Mikel Arteta seems to like players who played for his old club, Real Sociedad. This is their team that played Villarreal in the 2019-20 season. As you can see, Arsenal captain Martin Ødegaard is there. Summer signing Mikel Merino in there as well. Also Zubimendi. Oh yeah, look who else started the game. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. They've got about as much chance of signing him as I can't think of anything.
As you having a perfect hour. Right, so the arrival is significant with Jorginho and Thomas Partey both out of contract at the end of the season. However, Sky in Italy are reporting that Brazilian side Flamengo are interested in Jorginho and could sign him this month or in the summer.
Harry Maguire has done what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer once did for Manchester United. Harry Maguire experienced a journey at Manchester United that mirrors a dramatic storyline. A strong debut season, a decent second year, a disastrous third, and an even worse fourth. He then lost the captaincy, only to earn his way back to the armband. It's rare in this industry, but sometimes, we're happy to admit we were wrong, and Harry Maguire has proved me wrong. The Emirates Stadium marked a turning point for Maguire at United. Just last year on that same pitch, he was met with applause from Arsenal fans, mocking him. A potential move to West Ham had recently fallen through, and Maguire was seen as a comic figure. Fast forward 16 months, and 7,956 United fans stood to cheer him off the field. Most probably didn't know he played after missing 2 training sessions that week due to illness. He was bedridden but insisted on playing, a source revealed. This hasn't gone unnoticed, especially as other players have recently sat out games under similar circumstances. Maguire delivered 3 of his finest performances for United in just 1 month, away at Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City. During a mixed-zone interview on Sunday, Maguire reflected on his form under Ralph Rangnick 3 years ago. At that time, another English captain, Joe Root, had stepped down after difficult losses for England's cricket team. I wrote back then that Maguire should follow suit. Understandably, he was reluctant, but the decision was eventually made for him. Before the 2023 Carabao Cup final, Maguire and Bruno Fernandes attended a media session at Carrington. Fernandes, the de facto captain, greeted everyone with a firm handshake. Maguire, perhaps understandably, kept his distance, offering only a quick hello. Since then, I've spoken with Maguire during mixed-zone interviews and even interviewed him in Los Angeles over the summer. He's more composed and confident now that he's no longer the face of United's leadership. No longer obligated to face broadcasters after humiliating defeats, Maguire has emerged from the shadows of criticism that once loomed so large. Not all former teammates hid their disdain for Maguire. Eric Bailly openly questioned his privileges, and Cristiano Ronaldo reportedly urged Rangnick to strip him of the captaincy. Without the armband, Maguire has stepped out of the firing line. Fernandes now absorbs much of the scrutiny, sparing Maguire from constant critique. Ruben Amorim's management style has also reignited the 31-year-old. Amorim publicly called Maguire perfect for a 3-man defence and privately encouraged him to extend his contract. For the first time since losing the captaincy, Maguire donned the armband again last month in home matches against Everton and Newcastle. Under Erik ten Hag, Maguire's leadership qualities have become more apparent. He responded impeccably to setbacks, including the team's shocking FA Cup semi-final loss on penalties. Maguire's immediate reaction was to console teammates and shake hands, demonstrating a resilience and poise that were once questioned. The turning point came against Brentford, where Maguire's towering header set up Scott McTominay's last-gasp winner. United, moments away from a 5th Premier League loss in 8 games, found salvation in Maguire's grit. It's rare for a player almost sold by a club to bounce back and deliver some of their best moments. The last to do so was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whose resilience earned him legendary status at United. Solskjaer brought Maguire to the club in 2019 for a record £80 million fee, even naming him captain just months after his arrival, an unprecedented move since 1960. "I'm 31 now, turning 32 soon, but I feel I'm back to my best," Maguire said recently. "I'd say it's been 18 months of consistent, strong performances for this club. There's no denying I had a tough third season under Ralph Rangnick. I wasn't at my best, and I knew it. I had to dig deep to stay at this club because it demands the highest standards, and I feel like I've found that again. Mentally and physically, I feel great." Joe Root's batting average soared in the year after stepping down as captain. Maguire has similarly flourished, contributing to United's success and positioning the club as strong contenders for future silverware. Sometimes, it feels good to be proven wrong. Harry Maguire's resurgence is one of those times.